If there's one thing that describes the Sinnoh region in Pokémon, it's lore. This region is all about telling the story and the history and the origin of not only itself as a region, but the entire Pokémon world. However, along with all of this lore, also comes some mysteries. Pokémon Legends Arceus definitely did not disappoint in the lore department, and therefore it did not disappoint in the mysteries department either. Or maybe, I guess it did if you don't like things going unexplained, but I digress. The point is, there are actually some really interesting unexplained and unsolved mysteries in Pokémon Legends Arceus, and today I am going to be covering 5 of them and why they are so mysterious and unexplained in particular. I'll be dissecting these mysteries as much as I can, but because they're mysteries, I'm not really able to come to a definitive conclusion on any of them, which is where you guys are going to have to come in the comments, so let me know all of your thoughts about these mysteries in the comments below, and if you have any possible answers to them. This video is also going to contain spoilers, so be sure to be aware of that if you're still staying spoiler free, but with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. The first of these unsolved mysteries is the mystery of the ancient hero. Within the dialogue that is present throughout Pokémon Legends Arceus, via both characters and things you just read yourself, there is repeated mention of an ancient hero that once lived long ago in the Hisui region. This hero apparently battled with Arceus at some point with the help of his 10 companion Pokémon, who are the ancestors to both the 5 noble Pokémon as well as the 5 ride Pokémon that you interact with throughout your adventure. The game does not mention who this hero was, but whoever they were, it seems like they were pretty important because, like I said, they're not only mentioned all throughout the game, but the Temple of Sinnoh, aka the Spear Pillar at the top of Mount Coronet, is partially built in dedication to this hero and their Pokémon, as you can see with the statues of the hero's 10 companions that are immortalized at the mountain's peak. So, who could this ancient hero possibly be? Well, we actually have a pretty definitive answer, believe it or not, but the thing is, it doesn't really provide any answers and only makes this whole situation even more mysterious. And that is because the person who is most likely the ancient hero is the person who is pictured in all of the houses of both the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, who is none other than Alder, or I guess at least Alder's ancestor. With all of the mention of an ancient hero, most of which comes from both the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, and both of them having this person depicted and pictured in their house, which doesn't really make sense given their opposing tribes of people, it is almost certainly the case that this Alder ancestor character person is indeed the ancient hero that is mentioned throughout the game and its lore. But as I said, this only makes the mystery all the more mysterious, because of all people who could be the ancient hero, why Alder, or someone related to him? Alder is obviously a Unova-based character that originated in Pokémon Black and White, so why would he be in Hisui's ancient past, no less, and how did he ultimately end up in the Unova region? And for that matter, what is his relation to the rest of the people of Hisui? He doesn't seem to be a part of either the Diamond Clan or the Pearl Clan, given his attire in the picture and the fact that both of them have him pictured in their houses, so if he's not a part of either one of those tribes, then who, if anybody, could he possibly be connected to? Well, there is one possibility here, and that would be the Celestica people, who are basically the original people that first inhabited Hisui before the Diamond and Pearl clans came there some years ago from across the sea. What that connection could be, though, if there is any at all, is obviously unexplained at this time, and this is probably going to be one of those things that is going to be left up to us to simply theorize and speculate about. And speaking of those Celestica people, our next unsolved mystery also involves them as well, and it's actually a multifaceted mystery because other than the fact that they once existed, we really don't know anything about them despite the fact that they seem incredibly important to the Hisui region and then later on the Sinnoh region in the modern day. One of the questions we have about them would be, what happened to them? They were the original inhabitants of the Hisui region as the game states, but they are basically nowhere to be found in the time frame that Legends Arceus takes place. In fact, there are only 2 known characters who have any connection to them at all whatsoever, and that would be Kagita, who is referenced to be of Celestica people ancestry, and then Volo, who is also associated with them because he's obviously related to Kagita. So in terms of actual representation, these 2 characters are pretty much the only people that the Celestica people have going for them within the events of Legends Arceus. However, they also have a lot of ruins throughout the game as well, because all of the ruins and decayed structures that you see throughout the entirety of the game were all built by the Celestica people, but they're obviously all ruined and decayed, as if they haven't been populated or maintained in a long time, meaning that the Celestica people probably vanished from the Hisui region long ago. They were even the ones that built the Temple of Sinnoh, later becoming known as the Spear Pillar, so obviously Hisui was super important to them, so it doesn't seem like they would have left willingly. So if they didn't leave willingly, did they all die out? And if so, what ultimately exterminated them? We can see at the Ancient Retreat, which is where Kagita lives, that this seems to be what is probably the last remains of a Celestica village, because her house is the exact same type of structure as the houses in the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan, except it's a different color, which probably means it's meant to represent the Celestica people in comparison to the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan as separate tribes. The Ancient Retreat is also located in roughly the same area as Celestic Town is, which is obviously named after the Celestica people, and was founded by the ancestors to those people, hence why Cynthia is from there, because she's also tied to Kagita, who herself is of Celestica ancestry. So if we can assume the Ancient Retreat to be the last remains of a once bustling Celestica people, what happened to them? How did they ultimately get exterminated from the Hisui region that they held so dear to them? It's possible it could have something to do with the Diamond and Pearl clans, since they were not the original inhabitants of Hisui and came there from somewhere across the sea, but at the end of the day, all the game leaves us is remnants. All it leaves us is breadcrumbs, and it's up to us to ultimately piece them together. What that could ultimately mean at this time, however, has seemingly been unexplained. Another very odd and mysterious thing about Pokemon Legends Arceus that offers no explanation as to why it is the way it is the exorbitant amount of Unova representation within this Sinnoh-based game. This game takes place within what would ultimately become the Sinnoh region, which we also know is very far away from the Unova region, and yet there is so much Unova representation going on in this game. We already talked about Alder, who is the potential ancient hero of this story, which is a huge role to play, especially for someone from another region, and you also have other characters too, like Ingo and Leon, who is the ancestor to Clay. You obviously also have Oshawott, who is a Unova starter and was brought here from the Unova region. And finally, and perhaps most mysteriously, you have the forces of nature present in Hisui as well, with even another member of their group being added in this game. The description of the quest to obtain the forces of nature even states that Hisui is home to these Pokemon, possibly implying that this is where they are originally from instead of Unova. So what is the deal with all of this Unova representation? There are obviously other regions that are referred to and represented in this game as well, but the Unova representation is far too large and far too suspicious in my mind to not mean anything. It very much seems to be the case that something is going on in the background with regards to all of this Unova presence. The question is, what? The next mystery on our plate is the identity of the author of the Old Verses. The Old Verses are a series of short stories that can be found all throughout the Hisui region by using Ursaluna to track them down. What's really interesting about these Old Verses is that not only do they describe various bits of lore about the Hisui region, but the game makes specific note of the fact that all of these verses were apparently written by the same person. The fact that the game went out of the way to tell us that these were all written by a specific person, instead of them just being disembodied bits of lore like these kinds of things are in pretty much most other Pokemon games, tells me that there is some sort of identity to the author of these verses. And the various verses themselves even sort of hint at where this person could originally come from. It seems to be the case that they were also a member of the Celestica people as well, as it's stated in one of the verses that details the Celestica people and their disappearance. It also seems possible that despite being called the Old Verses, that the person who wrote these could be from the modern setting of Pokemon Legends Arceus, as they refer to past events prior to the game as past events. However, other than this, there is really no indication whatsoever as to who this could possibly be. My first thought is that it was probably the ancient hero who was writing these. However, that doesn't seem to be the case due to the fact that several of the verses refer to the ancient hero as if they are a different person. Just like the ancient hero though, it seems like this person is pretty important to the overall setting and plot and lore of what is going on in this game and what it ultimately leads to within the modern Sinnoh games. However, their identity is very well hidden and we don't have a lot to go on currently as to who this could specifically be. And speaking of the old verses, one of them in particular details something very, very interesting, and that would be the Land of Sinjo. Sinjo should sound familiar to you because that name comes from the Sinjo ruins, which has heavy ties to both the Sinnoh region and Arceus as a whole, as it's where you take Arceus in Heart Gold and Soul Silver to receive another one of the creation trio. It has been said that the Sinjo ruins were built by tribes from both Sinnoh and Johto, and up until now, we were meant to believe that the name Sinjo was in reference to the ruins themselves. However, one of the old verses in Legends Arceus corrects this, and refers to Sinjo as if it's an entire region of its own, just like Hisui. What could this mean? The Sinjo ruins were already an extremely mysterious place to begin with, and now this game is telling us that apparently Sinjo is an entire region of its own, or at least it once was during this time frame, and it's obviously one that we have never seen before outside of the Sinjo ruins. As far as I'm aware, this is the only mention of Sinjo in any way in the game though, so even though it gives us the huge revelation that apparently Sinjo is indeed a region, it doesn't tell us any more about it or where it could be located or what this ultimately means. Given that we know that the Sinjo ruins lie somewhere north of Johto, it's possible that the Sinjo region lies somewhere between Johto and Sinnoh as well, hence the name, and also because this is a particular spot of the Pokemon world that we have not seen yet. If this is indeed a region of its own though, what is there? What kinds of Pokemon could we expect to see? Is this ever going to be a region that we ever get to explore in any kind of future Pokemon game, even if it's just receiving more details about it? As someone who really wanted to see a Sinjo Ruins event in this game, this has me immensely excited and intrigued, even if we didn't actually get to go to the Sinjo Ruins themselves. At least not yet anyway, because DLC is always a possibility. And whether it's in DLC or just at any point in the future at all, I would love to learn more about Sinjo in the context of it being its own region, because that just seems like a wealth of lore and history and detail about the Pokemon world that we are currently missing out on, and I really want to know more about it. And there you have it, everybody. Those are 5 currently unsolved mysteries in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Which of these mysteries intrigues you the most, and do you have any possible explanations? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new for more Pokemon content. You can also check me out on Spotify as well as other music streaming services to listen to my Pokemon remixes, which greatly supports the channel and helps me make videos like this. So if you like what you see here, consider checking me out there as well, and that would be very much appreciated. With all that being said, I will be back with another video very soon, and until then, as always, thank you guys for watching this one. I love you very much, and I will smell you guys later.